All right. Well, good afternoon or good morning for where we are. Thanks for joining us, Tanya. I want to introduce everyone. This is Tanya, HR of Aspen Ski Corporation. Thank you so much for joining us from all the way in Colorado. How are you today?
I'm awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, look, my pleasure. I'm so excited to have you on board. We always have so many amazing Aussies go over, have the best time at Aspen working for you guys, and then come back and just talk about the amazing experience. So we appreciate how you get all of our Aussies and also our Kiwis as well on board and take them on. So we do really appreciate you doing that. But look, for the new batch of folks that are really keen to potentially come over and work at Aspen, why don't we open up? Tell us all about Aspen, the jobs you're looking for, and tell us a bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Malelli. I work here with Aspen Skiing Company. So I work with our human resources team, and I head up our recruiting efforts for mountain sales and schools, which in our world essentially means our ski and snowboard school, as well as all of our ticket offices and any of our sales channels. I also work within the ski and snowboard school. I've been with the company for about 10 years now, and most of that time I've been within the ski and snowboard school, teaching, training, all of that fun stuff. So I can talk with you more about that if folks have some questions specific to what it's like to be an instructor. But what I wanted to start with is to just give the group, a little bit of an overview on kind of our company, what it looks like to actually come and spend a winter season here in Aspen, what housing, transport, stuff like that looks like, and then also give you a little bit of insight into some of the jobs that we're looking to hire for the coming winter. And then my thought was at the end, I will open it up for questions and answers. I'm happy to chat about literally everything and anything that you guys want to know. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here before we get started. Let's see. All right, is that working for you guys? Are you guys seeing my screen now?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So Aspen Skiing Company, who are we? The number one thing that we like to tell folks about working for us is it's more than just a job. It's a way of life. It's an introduction to kind of the mountain environment, and it's a really unique town that is actually quite different to most other ski towns around the world. We started in 1946. We have essentially been developing the world's best group of mountains since that time. We are really fortunate to be privately owned, which means in our terms here in the US, we are owned by the Crown family. They're a family that's based out of Chicago. They own a number of different companies, Aspen Skiing Company being one of them. We feel really fortunate here in Aspen to have the ownership that we do. They are really passionate skiers and snowboarders. They are really invested in the community here in Aspen, really invested in our employees. And what that translates to is, really a company that's very forward thinking, very, creative in how they approach managing employees, creative in how we manage, our guests and attracting our guests, and really collaborative and based on relationships. So that's kind of how we started. What makes us different, we think, from everyone else is this idea of we have 4 mountains, 2 towns that all come together to really form the Aspen Snowmass experience. Within those 4 mountains, within those 2 towns, we have endless opportunities to connect with nature, with the arts, with social sciences and culture, as well as with the community. So what are the 2 towns that you would be coming into? The obvious one is Aspen. The town of Aspen is, probably what we are most known for. It's got all of the shops and the restaurants and, really touristy destination. And one of our gondolas that goes up Aspen Mountain runs right up into the base of Aspen. So that's kind of, that's our primary town. Lesser known, but just as cool is the town of Snowmass Village. The town of Snowmass Village is located about 10 to 15 minutes away from Aspen. It's where one of our other 4 resorts is. It's really become in recent years, probably over the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen a ton of development over there. It's where our largest bed base is. So when you think about, if those of you that have traveled abroad, if you think about what that really kind of resort, true ski resort feel is, all of the hotels are right there at the base. All of the restaurants are right there at the base. The chairlifts go up from the base. That's Snowmass. Snowmass is really, it really is a true ski village. Cool thing about Snowmass, on a bit of a side note, that's where we have the most summer activities. It's where our downhill mountain bike park is. It's where we've got a high ropes course, we've got hiking, kids camp, stuff like that. So lesser known, but Snowmass Village also very cool. For mountains, I think, for me coming to Aspen, when I moved here, I moved from Lake Tahoe, which is another area in the US where you have a really high concentration of ski resorts in one area. So I was quite used to being able to move around and ski at different mountains at different times. And one of the things that I found, really nice when I came here to Aspen was that we have that same feeling here. We have 4 mountains within about a 20-minute span, which at first seems like not a huge deal, but the thing that makes that really unique is each of our mountains has a very different feel, a very different vibe to it. They cater to slightly different guests and different employees. So it makes it so that you can move around between the 4 and really feel like you're having a different experience on any given day. It kind of keeps it fresh, so to speak. Talking about what our 4 mountains are, I'll go kind of right down the list, starting with our one in the town center and then moving out to our furthest. Aspen Mountain. The tagline for Aspen Mountain is above and beyond. We refer to Aspen Mountain as the crown jewel. As I said earlier, the gondola for Aspen Mountain runs right there into the middle of town. It was the first mountain, obviously, that we had. Interesting in that there's not a ton of beginner terrain on this mountain. If you're a beginner and you're skiing on Aspen Mountain, you're actually uploading the gondola, skiing at the top, and then downloading. So kind of a different experience. But it has all of the high-end feel that you would expect from Aspen. It's got, fine dining restaurants up on top as well as at the base. It's got an exclusive private members club up at the top. 5-star, 5-diamond hotels right at the base. And then, obviously you're taking a gondola right down into the middle of the town. So that's pretty cool. Moving along, we head a little bit further down valley and we have Aspen Highlands, which is called Born Different. Most locals in the area will tell you Aspen Highlands is probably one of their favorite mountains. It's a little bit more off the beaten path. Doesn't have super high-end fancy village. It's on the smaller side for sure, but has some of the most epic terrain that you will find across our 4 mountains. This mountain is very much for our intermediate expert guests. There's actually no green terrain on Aspen Highlands. What we have an abundance of on Aspen Highlands is double black terrain. If you've heard anything about us or heard anything about Aspen, you've probably heard of Highlands for kind of 2 reasons. One being the Highland Bowl. It is our hike to terrain, kind of side country, so to speak. You go up the highest lift at Aspen Highlands, and from there, you or your guests can go on about a 30 to 45-minute hike up into the Highlands Bowl. And then you're skiing all incredible double black terrain, steep bowl skiing in the trees, has moguls, and always has fantastic snow. So one of the things that Highlands is known for. The second thing that Highlands is known for is Cloud9 Restaurant. The Cloud9 Restaurant is definitely something of a scene. Fine dining during the day, also has a deck. They bring DJs in. It becomes quite a big, kind of opera party towards the end of the day. Something that, our guests are really drawn to, something that, it is pretty cool to experience and makes that mountain a little bit unique. So that's Aspen Highlands. Moving down the road a little bit further, we move to Buttermilk. Buttermilk, we refer to, its tagline is all day recess. It is, it's kind of got two different personalities to it. Buttermilk is where we have most of our learning terrain, so predominantly green and blue terrain on that mountain. It's got a full kids center, it's got a full adult ski school, on-mountain restaurant, daycare center, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing unique about Buttermilk is it's, got our best terrain parks. Buttermilk actually closes for, not completely closes, but its operations are limited for a chunk of time in January, as that's where we hold the X Games. So when you think about that kind of all day recess, it really is, it's that terrain park, freestyle, free ride kind of vibe to it, as well as this, massive playground for our beginners and our new skiers to kind of come and experience the sport for the first time. And then we move out to Snowmass. Snowmass is our largest resort, unlimited potential because it has everything out there. It's got a full host of green terrain. We've got a beginner area that's actually up on the top of the mountain. So beginners get to ride up a gondola and kind of experience what that's like. And then it runs all the way through, Snowmass has double black terrain. It's got gated terrain that you can jump into, steeps, chutes, you name it. Long blue groomers that kind of go on for days, it seems like. So it's really, kind of a place that caters to folks that are coming in groups with different levels, or folks that just want a little bit of everything all in one day. What also makes Snowmass unique is, as I said before, it is our mountain with the largest bed base, right? The largest capacity to house guests right there at the base of the mountain. With this comes all of the facilities that make a family-friendly resort. So it's got a full kids center in there. We've got adult ski school, kids ski school, 6 and under ski school, as well as childcare. It's got terrain parks as well. On mountain restaurants, everything from fine dining to market style. It's got a mountain coaster, as well as tubing that our non-skiing guests can enjoy, right? And then there are different access points on Snowmass, so guests can typically ski right out from their hotel room. So Snowmass, super family friendly, caters to everyone wanting to do everything. When you put all of these together, it's, I think a little bit intimidating for our staff and our guests when they first get here. There is so much to see and so much to explore all at once. Over 5,500 acres of terrain. But, I think, again, what makes, it is what makes us unique. It makes it a unique place to work because you will be, you have the potential to be moving around the valley, throughout your season here. It also makes it, an appealing place for our guests, and it gives us the opportunity to create really unique experiences for our guests, because we can take them and refer them to other mountains, give them a taste of what, different places have to offer. So 4 ski resorts in one definitely has its perks. So let's talk about, switching gears a little bit, let's talk about kind of you guys and what it would look like to actually come and spend a winter in Colorado, a winter in Aspen. Probably the first thing is, how do you get here? How do you get around? The most fantastic thing that I've found about living in Aspen is how easily accessible it is. So we've got essentially 2 major airports. You can fly right into the town of Aspen. The airport is about a 10-minute bus ride from downtown Aspen, so that's super simple. We've also got Denver International Airport, which is about a 4.5 to 5 hour drive, and there are public transport and bus options that get you from Denver into Aspen. So from that standpoint, really, off the beaten path, pretty far from a major city, but also very easily accessible. Getting around here is, it's a car-friendly area, which I think is nice. We don't find that too many places in the US, but Aspen is one of those places where you can come without a car and be completely okay. We have free local transportation, which we feel really fortunate to have. The free local transportation takes you between the town of Aspen and Snowmass Village. So that gets you to all of our 4 mountains, and it gets you, all of the little nooks and crannies in between. And those buses run about every 15 minutes-ish. So super easy to hop on a bus, ski at Aspen Highlands one morning, hop on a bus, go have dinner in Snowmass or something like that. That transportation also extends down the valley. So we have low fare offerings within a 70-mile kind of radius of Aspen. So that means if folks are living a little further away to have cheaper accommodations, for example, in Carbondale or Glenwood Springs or some of the other towns you might have heard about, still very affordable and very easy to get to those places on the bus. Also through the company, we have the ability to purchase discounted bus passes as employees. Again, those buses are a little more spread out, probably more like 20 to 30 minutes, but they run regularly all times of the day. So when we say Aspen is a place that you don't need a car, we truly mean it's a place you don't need a car. And in most cases, it's actually easier to get around our town without a car. I live down valley, and on the days I drive, takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to drive. But if I jump on a bus with those HOV lanes, cuts that time to about 20 to 30 minutes. So really, really nice opportunities there. Makes it pretty easy to be a new person and drop in and not feel like you're lost or stranded. Where are you going to live? The good news for you guys is we have employee housing available. And when I talk about the roles we're looking for a little bit later, we've selected the roles that we're recruiting for based on what we can offer housing with. So essentially what that means is if you're looking for a position with us, everything we're interviewing for currently will give you an option of pursuing employee housing if that's something that you're interested in. I put up just a couple of our employee housing opportunities to kind of give you an idea. We do have employee housing units that run across the whole span of the valley. So everywhere from in Aspen to in Snowmass to a little bit down valley. How we place you in those units will depend on what your job is, right? So what your working hours are, as well as, which of the 4 mountains you're going to work at. We try to set it up so that the housing you get is really complementary to the job that you have. It's easy to get there. It's easy to jump on a bus and be on time to work. Unique to maybe some other ski resorts around the world, our employee housing does not come out of your paycheck. You do sign a lease with our housing department, and you pay that rent directly to the housing department. Your lease is held directly with the housing department. So it takes having a job to qualify for housing, but those two are not immediately connected. We also have, for folks that are looking for a different opportunity, not necessarily wanting to be in that employee housing, we have APSHA, which is known as the Aspen-Pitkin County Housing Authority. They also run seasonal housing for any employees that are working within the area. That means that as an employee of Aspen Skiing Company, all of us, any of you guys, would be welcome to jump into some of those opportunities. We've got Burlingame and Maralt are the 2 primary that we use. Those are located right across the street from Buttermilk is Burlingame, and right at the base of Aspen Highlands is Maralt. So not necessarily better or worse, but different in what they offer and another avenue that folks can explore housing through. While you're here, so I said Aspen's an incredible place to live, not just because the skiing and riding is great, but because the town is good. our town, if you don't know or you haven't read much about Aspen, we were really founded on the Aspen idea, which is this idea of the renewal of mind, body, and spirit can be achieved when all of those are engaged. So the founders of our town and this kind of idea that lives on is, what has brought so much art and culture and outdoor activity into Aspen? It's this idea that if we bring these things in and we create opportunities for our community members to explore in the outdoors, to engage in intellectual conversations, to enjoy arts and culture, that we will achieve a better existence, right? We will have a more balanced life. We'll be more passionate about what we're doing. This idea is really, it's become a part of the DNA of our town, and it lives within our company too. It means that when you're here, you find things like the Aspen Art Museum that has exhibits from world-class artists from around the world at any given time, often sometimes free. We have the Aspen Music School and Festival, which brings in students as well as professionals from around the world to perform, learn, study within our valley. We have the Aspen Center for Environmental Sciences, which is a place that is dedicated to studying environmental science and then spreading that information out through the community via free talks, tours, etc. The most common thing that group does during the winter season is they host kind of nature walks and talks on the top of a couple of our mountains during the summer to help our guests really understand, how did this valley come to be? What's the wildlife that we have around here? What are the mountain ranges? What is all that about? So all of these amazing opportunities outside of just skiing and riding makes it a really enriching place to live, I think, is what you would find most of our community members will tell us. And then, of course, there's all the fun stuff that's going on. With our 4 mountains and all of this incredible terrain and all of these resources that we have, we get a huge opportunity to host some really, really cool, unique events that I don't think every resort around the US gets. X Games, of course, being, the #1, probably the biggest, the famous. We've had that for, over 20 years now. We will have it for quite a bit longer. It runs on buttermilk. It comes with all sorts of concerts and parties and all of that stuff. And the best part is it's in January when our business is a little bit slower, which means there's a lot of time for employees to get out and enjoy the X Games. We've got World Cup. So ski racing, this kind of comes and goes. In 2017, we were really lucky to host the World Cup finals. So all events over a course of a week, fantastic atmosphere. Last year we held the men's speed events. So we had downhill and super G. Our World Cup events do run right on Aspen Mountain. If you get a chance, Google what those courses look like. Those racers are going from the top of Aspen Mountain and then skiing right down into town. It's a pretty gnarly course. You'll see in the picture there, they are flying. It's really cool. And then the other stuff we have going on through the season, all sorts of employee dinners and parties at various times, kickoff parties, mid-season parties, employee dinners when times are slow. So lots of things within the company to take advantage of. And then all of the things outside. So, whether it be fireworks for New Year's Eve, or whether it be, the opera or the nightlife within Aspen or Snowmass that you're looking for. There's a host of things, and what our job is, if you choose to come here and work with us, is to help connect you to everything that the town has to offer. We really, like I said, believe that it's much more than a job. It's how can we welcome you into our community and kind of, what we're passionate about. All right. So I'm going to switch gears one more time. Let's talk a little bit about, the jobs that we're currently hiring for this coming winter. Mountain Sales and Schools is the department that we are targeting to hire folks into. This school, as I said, runs our ski and snowboard school, as well as all of our frontline ticket offices and some other sales channels. what makes us unique is the amount of time that people choose to spend with us. We really refer to our department as a family. And we really believe that whether you stay for one season or whether you make this your home and are here for the rest of your life, we welcome people into the family. We want you to build relationships, build connections here, gain skills that will leave you feeling like you're not just better at your job, but like you're a bit of a different person. Like you've had an experience that has made you better or has inspired you to do something different with your life or your career. So that's who we are. The jobs that we're going to particularly be hiring for are ski and snowboard instructors. And for those particular roles, the two mountains that we hire into most frequently are Snowmass and Buttermilk. Aspen Mountain and Aspen Highlands are quite small ski schools. We typically don't place new hires into those two mountains. We do have requirements, given the demand that we have for our ski school. Our minimum requirements for ski and snowboard instructors are a level 1 certification and 200 documented teaching hours. Now, there's some nuance to this. We recognize that, if any of you guys are interested in ski and snowboard instructors, we can feel free to ask me questions. There are some nuances here, given the fact that you are potentially heading into a winter season and maybe picking up some of those certifications or experiences throughout the next couple months. That's something that we're happy to talk to you about your particular situation and kind of how that fits into the whole hiring picture. The other jobs we're looking for are, require no specific certifications, a little more straightforward. Ski school support crew. So these are all the folks that work within our kids centers, helping get kids set up with gear, helping checking them into lessons, out on the hill, maintaining some of our tree trails or some of our on hill, ski school lunch areas, stuff like that. Childcare attendants work out of Snowmass and Buttermilk in our two kids centers. They work with our youngest guests, so those kids under 3. We've got a bit of a range in those childcare attendant roles. Some of them are purely indoor based, so purely indoor classroom, true childcare. And then we do also offer some learn to ski programs for our 2.5, 3-year-olds. So some of our childcare attendants will also do some double duty, spending time on the hill, teaching those little guys how to ski or ride. Our race crew attendants, we operate NASTAR courses, which if you're not familiar with NASTAR, it's essentially free racing that's open to the public. We have those on Snowmass and Aspen Mountain. They run 7 days a week, wildly popular with our ski school guests as well as the general public. Our race crew attendants are the guys that maintain those. So it's setting courses, it's doing all of the timing and announcing for those. It's, slipping or setting fencing or whatever the case may be. And that's race crew. Really great opportunity if you like being on the mountain in a really kind of highly interactive way. And then our mountain sales agents. Our mountain sales agents work in any of our ticket offices. We have ticket offices at all 4 of our mountains. Those folks are really the first point of contact. Oftentimes our mountain sales agents are the first people that are going to meet. So what we're looking for is, friendly folks that want to interact and want to share what we do with our guests. Our mountain sales teams find that guests have a lot of questions. There's a lot going on in Aspen. There's a lot across the 4 mountains. So that job is as much about talking to folks and offering them recommendations on products or what mountain to ski or how to plan their vacation as it is about, punching the numbers in a computer and actually transacting. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys for today in terms of who we are as a company, what spending a season in Aspen is actually all about, and then the jobs that we might be able to offer you. With that, what I wanted to go ahead and do is actually open it up to you guys and take any questions that you might have.
You guys should be able to unmute yourself and put yourself on camera if you have any questions to jump in. Maybe you did too good a job, Tanya.
Hey, if there's no questions, hopefully we see applications from all of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Look, and I guess while we're sitting and folks are trying to think of some questions to ask, a couple of quick things just about the program itself for those people looking at doing the Work Experience USA program. So remember, you do need to be a full-time university, TAFE, or college student post high school. So you'll have to have been at least at university, uni, or TAFE for this year. And then this fits in perfectly with your uni summer holiday break. So your exams are going to finish sometime in November, maybe early December. You literally jump on a plane if you want the next day and be over in Aspen within sort of like, a 24-hour period. And then you can work right through until you're due back to start at university. So it fits in perfectly. It's a really good option there for you. And then you can do that multiple times while you're at university. And in fact, we've got a couple of staff that do that year after year that sort of have transitioned from mountain sales into race crew and sort of moved across the mountain each year. We then also have our 12-month working holiday program. So Working Holiday USA. This one is typically utilized for mainly our those that are graduating from university, college, or TAFE. And then they want to go and utilize the full 6 months at Aspen, or potentially even stay on for the whole year at Aspen if you wanted to do that. Work winter and then transition into the summer. You've got those options, and we've had people do that before and just loved it. So it had the most amazing opportunity there. So you've got a great couple of program options there, and even a transition to go from the short-term visa into the long-term visa once you finish university. So they're great options. Unfortunately, it is a US government visa regulation. The fact that you do have to be a full-time student in class, and following those regulations. But as long as you're ticking all those boxes, then, you're certainly eligible for the program and to jump on and have an interview here with Aspen in just under a month's time. So it's awesome. Definitely. Anyone pop in for some questions, please fire away.
I see a couple hands raised. I'll let you guys unmute yourselves and jump on in.
You should be able to do that. Maybe.
Maybe not. Luke, I see you reacting. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Hang on, try that now.
Hello?
Yes,
There you go.
now.
Awesome. Sorry, the setting had been defaulted. All right, all good. Go ahead, Luke.
I'm trying to turn the video on as well. Yeah, sorry. G'day. I'm in here on behalf of my son. So could you just clarify, between year 12 and university, in that, can you participate in the program then, or do you need to be first year university?
Yeah, you need to have completed your first year at university.
Right. And you said that's a visa requirement. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So if my son has a US passport, does that mean he can participate then?
Yeah. You can apply directly straight through to Aspen. You actually wouldn't even utilize CCUSA in that respect, because we're sponsoring the visa for Australians and New Zealanders. So yeah, absolutely. You can apply directly through the links and the website and go straight through to Tanya's department. So.
Okay, great. And Tanya, what were the costs for the accommodation? I don't know if you outlined that at all, or if, yeah.
So costs is a little bit different depending on where exactly we place you. So typically what we tell people to plan on is between $600 to $800 a month for your accommodation. And what most of our accommodation is, again, it does vary, but most of our accommodation is in the category of shared apartment style living. So what that means is it's usually a single bedroom within an apartment that'll sleep 2 to 4 people. We do have some that are dorm style, but that is a little bit less likely.
Yeah, and the other side of that equation, what were the wages, the salaries? Yeah.
So that's going to be dependent on the position. Our base rate across the company is $20 an hour. So any of those kind of standard frontline jobs, if we're looking at like say a mountain sales agent, or a ski school support crew, some of that stuff is going to fall in the $20 an hour. When we start to get up into things like ski or snowboard instructor, that is very dependent on the certifications and experience that someone is coming to us with.
Yeah, and are most of the roles full-time, are they? Yeah.
Everything that we're looking at for students is going to be full-time. Yeah. When you're coming, basically the way we look at it, when you're coming from abroad, we want to make sure that we're setting folks up for success in having enough hours that they have a paycheck that's actually going to support them to live in Aspen. So what we'll typically do is, if for some reason we're seeing that someone has applied for a job that, they might not be a fit to get a full-time offer, what we will then look at is, okay, I don't know if you can get a full-time offer here, but let me help redirect you to this job that I think might be better suited to give you the hours we're looking for. So that's essentially how we handle that.
Thanks. I'll let some of the others ask a few questions.
Okay, who was next? Georgia?
I was just wondering, when do the applications for these jobs open and when will the interviews be held?
So the applications are already open and interviews, we're doing them on a bit of a rolling basis. So when you apply, we will aim to get you interviewed as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And to add to that, we are looking at doing a specific day with Tanya, which is going to be, I believe, around the 20th of June, which will be early morning for us before you all head off to uni. So the aim is to try and see if we can sort of, sandwich a number of folks in for around about 20-minute interview time slots. I know Tanya's going to sort of, depending on what position you're looking for, she might farm you out to certain departments, but certainly the aim is to try and get a number of people interviewed all on the one day. We've done that very successfully for the last couple of years, so it's been great. Tatum, did you have a question?
Yeah, it was kind of just a general question because I'm not sure about like the age of the majority of people that come to work from Australia. I was just wondering like what the medium age is, like people that we'll be living with and working with.
Yeah, look, it can be for the work experience program, because you've got to have completed at least your first year at university. Most people are late 18, turning 19, right through up until 29. So we have a nice big cross section there, depending on where they're at within their university or their college or their TAFE course, in that respect. But then we've also got a working holiday program, which also is open for slightly older applicants to still fit into that university, TAFE or college life. But look, it's average. I would say this past season, it would have been anywhere from probably 19 through to around about 24. I would say would have been the average age coming out. I think that's about right. Hey, Tanya?
Yeah, that seems about right for what we had. And then, on our end, what we're looking to do is obviously it's really easy for us to identify, who's coming out of the same program. So when we're looking at things like housing or where we're placing you for jobs, we're going to take that into consideration. We're trying to place you into housing where you're going to be with peers and you're going to have a good experience.
Cool, thank you.
Maddie, did you have any questions?
I do. Hello. Hi, Tanya. My question is more about ski school specifically. I am actually trying to make a career as a ski instructor, so I'm thinking about what my first step or where my first season is going to be. And I know that the Aspen Ski School has an amazing reputation around the world. So I even see it as maybe I should start by working in a ski school support role just to get the foot in the door at Aspen, if I can't start in an instructor role. What do you think? What are my options?
Yeah, that's a great question. So essentially there's two pathways that you could go. One is exactly what you mentioned. And, I think starting in a support role, something, whatever that support role looks like. What that does is that gives people a chance to experience what we're about as a ski school. It gives you access to world-class pros to learn from, to make friends with, to free ski with, and then to support you in really getting that level 1 certification while you're here working a different job. So that's definitely a great option. And I think it does exactly what you said. It gets your foot in the door, right? It makes it so that you can get in front of our managers know you, so that then once you get the ball rolling and you've got that certification, it's really easy for our crew to turn around and say, yep, I know this person, we trust them, we like them, we want to bring them into our ski school because they've shown us that they're really committed to this as a profession. And it's someone that we want to invest in. So I think that's absolutely a great option. The other option, and I'm obviously biased, so I think number 1 is the way to go. But the other option is what we tell people is like, look, we understand that we have higher requirements than other resorts within the US and Canada and some other countries. We're really fortunate to have a lot of interest. We're really fortunate to be a world-class ski school. The downside of that is, it does take a minute to become a ski instructor. So it's not the worst thing in the world to consider. What does it look like going to, say a Vail or a Beaver Creek or a North Star, California, somewhere that can offer you an instructing job with no certifications or experience right off the bat, kind of get your feet wet that way, and then come back and visit us later. Is there a right or wrong? Absolutely not. I think the only difference is, the first one gets you a foot in the door in Aspen, builds those connections, but not necessarily teaching right away. The second one gets you teaching right off the bat, gets you that practical experience, doesn't necessarily give you a connection to Aspen. It's kind of what you're looking for, really.
Okay, cool. Those are kind of the 2 ways I had figured I was going to do it. And I guess I just need to talk to more resorts and figure out what that looks like. In terms of because like you mentioned, the winter season here is coming up, I could go and do the level 1 cert, but I wouldn't have the teaching hours. I have other work experience that is super relevant. Is that worth talking about, or you really want the ski instructor hours?
So what we do, to be hired full-time as a ski instructor, it needs to be the ski instructor hours.
Sure.
But what we do, and we see this all the time, we have people that, I've gone and I've got my qualification, but I don't have the hours. What can I do? We have what we call combination jobs for those scenarios. So what that looks like is maybe you come in and the primary chunk of your time is in that ski school support role, because that's the role that we can get you full-time hours in. But then during our busy periods, or really whenever the team needs you, we also get you set up with that instructor role, so that you're starting to get out there and starting to get some teaching and really also build those hours while you're here. So that's an option if you have a level 1, but not the teaching hours.
Yeah,
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, just to add to that, Maddie, we have had folks do that in the past. They've had their level 1 come over, and then Tanya's been able to sort of, build that in there. But we've also had folks in the past that, we've got a girl who started 2 years ago in mountain sales, and now she's transitioned across to race and loving it. And she's got in there and she's got lots of contacts now to sort of transition through the different departments. I know that her aim is very similar to yours, to sort of, make this more of a career, and then sort of heading towards that 12-month visa at the end, and then to see what happens after that. So look, it's not unheard of. We've had a lady who went to Aspen and then worked for CCUSA part-time while she was studying full-time, and now she actually works full-time for Aspen and has been there for, how long has Sonia been there for now? Probably 10-15 years. So yeah. So there's also transition paths as well. So something to keep in the back of your mind there too, Maddie.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, Kate, did you have a question?
Yeah, hi Tanya. I'm a snowboard instructor. I'm just wondering what Aspen has on offer in terms of like training, and trying to like maybe do some of your training.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the answer is essentially what will seem like an unlimited opportunity to train here. We have what's called the Aspen Academy, and they handle all of our training. We take a talent development approach to how we develop our ski and snowboard pros. So what that means is there's two types of training that we offer for folks. We offer the standard certification training. I want to go to my level 2 exam. Give me some ride training, give me some teaching training specific to passing that exam. All of that for all levels. We also offer a whole host of elective training, which can be anything from training on emotional intelligence to looking at what some of the topics at Interski or other international associations are working with, race, freestyle, the works. We have a training staff of over 100 trainers. We have over 50 active examiners from various nations that work on our training staff, and we offer training every day of the season on one of our 4 resorts, whether that be an early morning session, a full day session, an afternoon kind of indoor Zoom type thing. So heaps and heaps of training. I think it's honestly, if I had to put my finger on what are the biggest things that draw people to us as a ski school, training is definitely in the top 3.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect.
I've got an
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
Kate. No, go
sorry,
ahead.
I just had a quick question. I'd be coming over on the J1 visa, but my partner would need a H2B. So I'm just wondering if you're potentially giving out those this year.
So we do not work with H2Bs. The only part of our company as a whole that works with H2Bs is our hospitality division. So if that's an area he's interested in and kind of that hotel work, happy to help you make that connection. But within the ski resort side of the operation, it's not a visa that we work with.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Was there any other questions? We are coming towards the end of our allotted time, and I know I want to give you some time to wrap up the rest of your day, Tanya. Any other questions before I let Tanya sort of give us some wrap ups?
I do have one more question about housing, because I noticed in the last email that was sent out, typically you don't offer ski instructors employee housing. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is one of those where ski instructors are in a unique breed, and the program that you're coming from is also very much informs what we're able to offer. So as a general rule, we do not offer employee housing for ski and snowboard instructors. We make an exception for participants specifically coming through CCUSA. So if you're coming through this program into our ski school, that is that is the one opportunity for you to come in as a ski or snowboard instructor and get housing.
Okay, awesome. And that being said, I realize it's not a guarantee. So I've done a couple of years in Whistler, so I'm familiar with a ridiculous housing market. Like, you just wouldn't go if you didn't have housing lined up. Is that what it's like in Aspen?
Without knowing Whistler like super intimately, I'm gonna say it's on par. It's probably on par, and that's similar for most ski towns around North America right now. What we do a little bit differently is, because we're a small community, there's a lot of word of mouth. We run a bunch of various programs in conjunction with the community. So for example, one is called Tenants for Turns, and we do a call to action and invite our community members to actually open up their homes and rent rooms out for lower rates. So we have stuff like that gives us, I think, some access to a little bit more affordable housing, free market options than some other ski towns. Is it challenging? Absolutely. Is it impossible? Definitely not. It just takes persistence.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Awesome.
I had one other question. Tanya, what were the details if we wanted to apply directly to you or to Aspen? Yes.
Yeah, so if you jump on the Aspen Snowmass website and then visit the employment page.
Okay, yep.
And if you just a straight Google search for Aspen Snowmass will get you there. What I can tell you is currently we have winter 23-24 roles posted for ski and snowboard instructors. The rest of our jobs for the rest of the resort will go live the first week of June.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Well, look, what we might do is we might wrap this up. Thank you everyone for jumping on. I really appreciate those, and those that ask questions. Thank you for jumping on and doing that. For those people that are watching us live or watching this back on demand later, thank you so much. Look, if you are keen, please jump onto our website, ccusa.com.au, or if you're in New Zealand, ccusa.co.nz. Jump on it, get that application started straight away. We are starting to book people in for our virtual Zoom job fair, which will be around the 20th of June, directly with Tanya and her crew. So it's first in, best dressed for those. So definitely, start working through that application, talk to your university, get your proof of student status documentation through and follow through. For those that are looking at our program, there are program fees that are associated with that, and that covers everything from the service costs that start with us jumping on here to running our business and operation costs, but also includes your insurance for the time that you are going to be working at Aspen, that has snow and ski and snowboard coverage as well in that one. So that and sponsorship. So always happy to chat about our programs and what you get with those. So by all means, reach out to our New Zealand or our Australian office. But otherwise, Tanya, thank you so much for jumping on. We really appreciate you getting on at the end of your day. I know it's quite, it's getting on to the late evening there for you. So look, I really appreciate it. I look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. It was great to meet you all and chat with you all. And I hope some of you guys pursue the program. It's awesome.
Marvelous. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to finish up the presentation. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.